1 year. 365 days. That's how long Pokémon Scarlet and Violet have been out. And in that time, I've somehow amassed over 1,000 hours of playtime across multiple files of these games. That's almost 42 days I've spent playing these games.
Maybe you should go touch some grass.
Okay. Anyways, in all that time, I've gotten myself quite the collection of shiny Pokemon. So, I figured why not take a trip down memory lane, tell some stories about some of my journeys, and maybe do a couple more hunts along the way. So let's kick it all off at the beginning. This Flittle. This was the very first shiny I found in Generation 9. So you might be asking yourself, did you use Flittle on your original team? No. Do you really like the Pokemon? No. Did you really want it shiny? No. So why was it your first shiny hunt? And the answer is simple. Because I found an outbreak. You see, a year ago, when everyone was first getting their bearings of these games, we didn't really have a good understanding of the spawn mechanics. Anubis had posted on Twitter that by using the picnic table, we could instantly despawn all the Pokemon in an outbreak. And this Flittle outbreak was the first one I found where I could get them to properly despawn and respawn. Obviously, we know now that we can just run away and come back, which is much easier and faster. I also remember just being super paranoid about it because it was taking a while, and I just figured I was doing it wrong. In hindsight, Flittle probably wasn't the best first target to hunt, since its shiny isn't super noticeable, but I also didn't know what its shiny looked like at the time. Its evolution, Espartha, though, has a great shiny. But this first shiny, which I caught last November, will always remain a little Flittle. We all know finding shinies in Generation 9 is easy. I mean, according to the game, I've battled over 300, and that's obviously not including all the shinies I found in different saves. But what if I told you this Shuppet was the only shiny I found in over 1,000 hours that was at full odds? Well, that actually wouldn't be entirely true, but I'll talk more about that later. But this was the first and only shiny I found at 1 in 4,096 before I got myself the shiny charm. It's funny because if you just play these games enough, you see so many Pokemon that you're bound to find a full odd random shiny. I mean, unless you're like really unlucky. But this cute little sock puppet showed up for me while I was completing my Pokedex. I went over to a Shuppet outbreak, not even trying to hunt it, just because I needed one for my decks, and there it was, a shiny Shuppet, which I never knew had such a nice shiny until this point, which is also why I love finding random shinies. You get to discover a new shiny you've never seen, and sometimes it ends up being one of your favorites. This was also the same day I accidentally used my Master Ball on a Basculin. Whoops. And before I get anyone commenting like, oh, why didn't you just reset your game? There's two reasons. I was in the middle of catching a bunch of Pokemon for my decks, and had caught like 50 new entries before this happened without saving. And also, it's just funny. So, I've talked about two of my earliest memories with shinies in these games so far. So let's follow that up by making a new memory. Although I've played these games for an ungodly amount of time, I still haven't completed the shiny decks. Maybe that could be attributed to all the bank standing I've done. Anyways, let's do a hunt for a shiny I don't have. This stupid burb. Base Scarlet and Violet had a Pokedex of 400, and while I do have a lot of the decks shiny, I don't have all of them. Squawkabilly is one of those Pokemon I've never bothered shiny hunting. Maybe because there's 4 variants of this Pokemon, maybe because its shiny is... Anyways, with a flying boost near Artizone, you can find lots of Billy. There's also Oricorio and Rookidee, and Murkrow at night, but hopefully that won't be too big of an issue. Well, lucky me, it wasn't. After an hour looking, I found the pink-haired burb. Like I was saying though, this shiny is definitely mid. Or even worse than mid. You know what might be fun? Let me do a tier list of all the new shinies in Scarlet and Violet. Starting with the one we just found, Billy. Billy is definitely a D tier shiny. Not the worst this game has to offer, but far from the best. A few others that might find themselves in D are the Charcadet line, Tadbulb, and Flittle. Although, like I said before, Espartha is much better, and rightfully deserves A tier. We'll check back on this list in a little bit. Speaking of hunts I never got around to completing, the most infamous shiny hunt in all of Scarlet and Violet. Obviously, I'm talking about the shiny 3-segment Dunsparce. Back in January, I embarked on a journey to get this pink snake. I had 2 Herba Mystica to my name, and a dream. I spent 2 weeks straight playing Pokemon only looking for shiny Dunsparce. I would make myself a sparkling normal sandwich, hunt for shiny Dunsparce, then evolve them. And if I didn't get the 3-segment, I would just reset my game in order to save my Herba. I sunk so many hours of my life away for this hunt. And who knows how many shiny Dunsparce I no longer have because I reset my game after every sandwich. Look at all the clips I have saved of this hunt. Every one of these clips is me finding or evolving a Dunsparce. You know, hold on. I just counted. 112. I caught and evolved 112 shiny Dunsparce. All in a 2-week span, which kind of burnt me out, which is probably why I never seriously went back to this hunt. Also during this time, I found a couple random shinies. 2 shiny Piggies, a shiny 2-segment Dunsparce, and this random shiny Iron Bundle after one of my boosts had ended. And all those shinies have been lost to the ether. All because I didn't have enough Herba Mystica. RIP. It's really funny to look back at these clips, because my plan was to find a shiny 3-segment Dunsparce, Family of 3 Mousehold, Ditto, and Zorua, all for one video. And I really thought I would be able to do all of that within a 3-week span. Obviously though, I didn't. Which is why this and all the clips you lovely people are watching have never seen the light of day. I did also find myself a shiny Ditto though, so I tweeted this out. So this is another clip I've never shown on this channel. Anyways, why not honor all those lost shiny Dunsparce and go ahead and hunt another one. Maybe I can finally get the 3-segment for Scarlet and Violet's 1-year anniversary. And similarly to Billy, this Dunsparce took an hour to show. And now, the moment of truth. One day I'll get this 3-segment Dunsparce. It's a mid-shiny though anyways. And same goes for the other Pokemon that got new evolutions in Generation 9. Except King Gambit. That's an A. Although I haven't gotten myself the 3-segment Dunsparce shiny yet, I still have a ton of shiny Pokemon from challenges I've made videos about that I'm super proud of. In fact, I organize my boxes as a representation of the videos I've made. I think it's fun to look back and see the shinies I've caught throughout the year this way. Oh, don't mind these boxes. Top secret information in these ones. But one shiny that I'm extremely proud of, it's probably the one I'm most proud of in all of Scarlet and Violet, is my shiny Spiritomb. I spoke earlier about Shuppet and how it was the only 1 in 4096 shiny I have. Well, the reason why that's not true is because of this Spiritomb. The only way to get a shiny Spiritomb, other than hatching eggs, is by doing soft resets. I don't even know how many hours or how many resets I did to find this bad boy, but it was a lot. It was a hunt I was really considering giving up on, but I'm so glad I didn't. I've had no better feeling playing these games than when I saw this incredible teal shiny. What's your guys' favorite shiny you found in Scarlet and Violet? I'd love to read about them. Leave a comment and let me know. Speaking of hatching eggs, let's talk starter Pokemon. Now, if you've seen my videos before, you probably know I don't particularly enjoy doing the Masuda method. Personally, I think Gen 9 kinda ruined hunting shinies through eggs for me. Having to do a picnic for 30 minutes collecting eggs, to then spend however long they take to hatch, and then not being able to mass release the breedjects, it's a recipe for disaster. Good thing I got my Barrows gloves. But seriously, I don't enjoy it. But I can't lie, I've done 3 Masuda hunts in Scarlet and Violet, and finally hatching those shiny babies felt amazing. My first 2 went really well too. It was for the 2 incredible black shinies, Greninja and Charizard. Truly some of the best shiny starters around. Both of these hunts were under odds. So you can imagine my excitement when the teal mask came along and I started hatching eggs for a shiny Turtwig. Again, I don't know the specifics of how long it took to shine, but it was thousands of eggs. Kinda worth it though for this little baby. At one point in time, I was planning on doing every possible Masuda method hunt for every starter. But with the Indigo disc only a month away, and with the new ability to hunt the starters without hatching eggs, I think I'll just wait for that to get the rest of them. And speaking of starters, let's rank the Generation 9 shiny starters. In my opinion, all 9 of these shinies are pretty decent. I'd put the entire Sprigatito line into mid but better. And same goes for Fuecoco, except for Skeledirge. That goes into A tier. And as for Quaxley, I think it's the weakest of the bunch. Not bad shinies, but definitely mid. On top of starters, every Pokemon generation gets a regional rodent, bird, and Pikachu clone. Pigs may not be considered rodents, but Lechonk fits the description in this instance. And its shiny, plus Oinkalongs, deserve A tier, because they look like pigs, but like in real life. Anyways, for the bird, Wattrel and Kilowattrel, I'm sorry to say, are mid. And the Palmy line, a little better than mid. Maybe you could say Tandemaus is the regional rodent, and its shiny should cease to exist. It's so bad. Some other shinies I have that I'd consider myself pretty proud of is all of the Paradox Pokemon, aside from the ones you can't get. One of my first major shiny hunting goals was to get all the Paradox Pokemon, and it was quite the journey getting these 7 future Pokemon. And more recently, a few months back, I finally got myself the past Paradoxes shiny too. Now, if we're taking all the huntable Paradoxes into account, I gotta give it to the past Paradoxes. Great Tusk, Brute Bonnet, Fluttermane, Slitherwing, and Roaring Moon, all in the upper categories. Screamtail and Sandy Shocks? As for the future Paradoxes though, I gotta say, most of them land themselves in the mid or worse categories. But, and that's a big but, Iron Valiant is an easy A tier. And my favorite shiny Paradox has got to be Iron Thorns. S tier shiny in my opinion. And what the heck, let's do one last hunt just for fun. Believe it or not, there's only one single Generation 9 Pokemon that I don't have shiny. I mean, other than the starters, for obvious reasons mentioned before. That being Citadel. So let's go get one. It's a shiny I've wanted for so long, so I'm glad that I'm finally taking the time to go and find one. And with this, let's also do some more of the tier list. Starting off with the Citadel line. Citadel has a great shiny, an easy A tier, but Cetitan is even better. It's an S tier shiny for me. Some other shinies I rate pretty highly, Tarantula, and Spidops has grown on me. Bellibolt, this one might be an unpopular opinion, but I love Grafaiai. Toadschool and Cruel, both easily S. Cloth, another S. Wiglet and Wugtrio, both A. Varoomline, A. And Orthworm, also A. You know, I can obviously go on and on about shiny Pokemon. I mean, I've been doing so on this channel for quite a while now. So here's the rest of my tier list of every new shiny in Generation 9. If you have any questions about the placement of something, feel free to ask in the comments. And I'll leave you with this. These games may have come out half-baked, with plenty of crashes, glitches, performance issues. And it still may be a broken mess a year later, with features being removed from the game. But I can't lie, I've had a wonderful time playing this past year. I hope you have too. Or if you just choose to watch silly little videos of Pokemon on YouTube like this one. From the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for watching. We've come a long way this past year, and I can't wait to see where we go next year. Thanks for watching.